60th birthday. After retiring and coming home with a bouquet of flowers, I was in shock. My husband, Bob, was waiting with divorce papers in hand.
You won't be making money anymore, so I don't need you.
I've put up with you, a high school dropout and incapable, all these years. You should be thanking me now, Leo. Just bow down, leave your retirement savings, and get out. That's right, live your pathetic life as the failure you are, Lau. I'll make him happy in your place, so don't worry, Layali. An affair, huh? I just smiled. Thank you. I really appreciate it. That was from the bottom of my heart. Whoops. I couldn't stop laughing when I thought of their unfortunate fate. My name is Nancy. I live with my husband, David. I'm in my late 50s and David is 5 years younger than me. I have a younger sister and she and David were college classmates. So our initial meeting came from that connection. We have 2 children, an eldest daughter and an eldest son. But they're all grown up and have families of their own. But as I approach my 60s, I find myself reflecting on my life more and more. So many things have happened over the years. Having 2 kids is a blessing, but I do have my grievances with my husband. David graduated from a prestigious university and landed a job at a major corporation. On the other hand, my education ended after graduating from the local junior high school. So, David, with his advanced degree, often took it upon himself to belittle me. To tell you the truth, I too wanted to go to high school. But back then, my family was too poor to afford it. So after junior high, I went straight to work, contributing my paycheck to support my family. The money I saved was little by little, for the future. Seeing my peers in their high school uniforms, enjoying their school lives. I was envious, but now I've come to accept that this too is part of my life's journey. Being envious of others won't make you any happier. By the time I was 23, my family's financial situation had stabilized and my younger sister went off to college. By then, my longing for higher education had faded, and I was genuinely happy that my sister could pursue her dreams. So, I often gave her some spending money, and if she was out late, I'd go pick her up. That's when I met David. At first, since he was 5 years younger and just my sister's friend. I didn't think much of it, but over time we got closer and started dating. I thought a college student like David and a junior high graduate like me wouldn't match up, but he assured me it wasn't an issue. After a while, David proposed and we got married in our 5th year of dating. Everyone, my coworkers, friends, and family, was thrilled when we announced our marriage. Then we found out I was expecting our first child, and it truly felt like the pinnacle of happiness. But slowly, clouds began to form over our bliss. Back then, it was common for women to retire after marriage, and I had planned to do just that, but David firmly disagreed. He insisted I work full-time, while managing the housework and child-rearing. Yet a few years into our marriage, David up and quit his job. To make matters worse, David didn't lift a finger to help with the house or our child, leaving me to handle everything on my own. You've been retired for about 3 months now. Still no new job lined up? Would you quit nagging? Just because you only made it through middle school doesn't mean you can boss me around. I'm a needed man in society, not like you. I'm not the type to jump at any job like you. If that's how you feel, at least help out with the chores. Between work, the kids, and housework, it's getting too much for me. Hey, sounds just like the life someone with your education should have. You should just keep quiet and work. No matter how much I spoke up. David's demeaning attitude towards me only worsened over the years. I never considered divorce. I believed our child needed a father, and I was sure David wouldn't have allowed it anyway. If I had hired a lawyer, maybe the divorce would have gone through, but I neither had the money nor the time. The years flew by, and soon enough, retirement was right around the corner. But even with a retirement payout, it wouldn't sustain me for life, and Social Security is minimal. This meant I'd need to find a way to earn an income even after retiring. With that in mind, I decided to at least get a high school diploma. Between housework and my job, I studied intensely. And recently, I passed successfully. I haven't told David about taking the test or about passing it. Even if I told him, he'd probably just boast, well, I have a bachelor's degree. Then, the day after my exam results arrived, my younger sister called me after a long time. Hey sis, it's been a while. I'm coming over, so be ready. See you in a bit. Not waiting for a response, she showed up promptly. Why the sudden visit? Where's your husband? Did you come alone? I got divorced. Kitty, from now on, I'm living at your place. Your niece and nephew have moved out, right? So there's a spare room. It's true that we have a spare room, but this is way too sudden. I had no idea she got divorced, and this is all happening so fast I can't keep up. Whoa there, this isn't easy, and I don't think David would agree either. While we were having this back and forth at the front door, David came out from the bedroom.
Hey, look who's here. Naomi, why don't you make her some coffee or something?
David took my sister's bags and headed for the living room. What on earth is going on? When I told him I was getting divorced, David said I could stay here as long as I liked. I hadn't heard a word about that. As I stood there puzzled, Naomi confidently strode into the living room without hesitation. I quickly followed her. Why would you decide this without discussing it with me? That's not right, you know. David replied with a clearly annoyed expression.
They why? She's family. And she's in trouble. Oh wait, why would I help her? It's honor not to.
That's the problem with you high school dropouts. You just can't understand how people feel. That's right. Unlike us college grads, you just don't have the common sense, sis. Naomi jumped on David's bandwagon and mocked me. She always had this trait. Maybe I spoiled her too much, but it seems Naomi thinks of me as inferior and often hurls insults. But from then on, I couldn't kick Naomi out, and I was forced into living with her. I wished she'd at least help with chores, but she lounged around every day doing nothing. What's worse, she increasingly made demeaning remarks about me. If you're not going to help with chores, could you at least chip in for living expenses? I can't support 3 adults on my income alone. It's always about money with you, isn't it? I guess since you couldn't afford education, you're obsessed with it. It's not like that. I wonder if our parents really didn't have the money. They paid for my college. Maybe they just lied because you weren't cute, had no earning potential, and were just a clumsy disappointment. Naomi's verbal abuse towards me grew day by day, and David started taking her side more. About 2 months into our living arrangement, I noticed Naomi going out more often instead of just lounging around at home. David seemed to be doing the same. In the morning, after my sister left, David would soon follow and leave the house, and at night, shortly after my sister returned, David would come home too. At this pattern repeating, I couldn't help but suspect something was going on between them. After all, it was David who invited my sister to live with us, and they've been friends since college. It's hard to believe, but maybe they've had a secret relationship all this time. Disturbing thoughts swirled in my mind. Driven by my curiosity, I decided to look into their relationship. I consulted with a friend who works as an office staff at a private investigation agency, and she agreed to take on the case at a discounted rate. A week-long investigation followed. From the results, it seemed my suspicions were right. The two of them were having an affair. When I was shown photos of them walking arm in arm through town, I felt more anger than sadness. While I was working hard, they were out having a good time without a care in the world. They probably enjoyed treating me like some uneducated, easy money source and maid. It was a wake-up call for me. I've been too passive up to now, but I won't let them push me around anymore. I'll make them regret looking down on me. It's that determination. I began gathering evidence of their affair and decided to study for law school admissions during their absence. You might wonder why law school. It's because of a story I heard. Currently, I work in janitorial services and often visit law firms. During one of my shifts, I overheard employees mentioning someone in their 60s who passed the bar exam. Back then, I thought that world was entirely separate from mine. But after managing to pass the JID, which I had once believed impossible, I started to think maybe I could achieve anything if I tried. Besides, I figured that if I had a trade in hand, I'd never go hungry. Some might call it a mundane thought, but for me it's a big enough goal to pursue in this last chapter of my life. A few months later, I finally hit retirement age. It was a place I'd worked at for a long time, and thankfully, many people expressed their sadness at my retirement. And then, that very night, and phone, I'll start making dinner now. As I entered the living room, David and my younger sister sat on the couch, both grinning with a sly smirk. Took you long enough. Sit down there. We need to talk. David pointed to the hardwood floor. So they lounge on the couch, and they want me to sit on the floor. ignoring his request. I stood firm. I'll listen from here. David's face showed clear annoyance, but he didn't push further. So sis, you retired today, right? Which means you're unemployed now. How are you gonna live from now on, being a high school dropout and jobless? My younger sister sneered as she said this. David jumped on the bandwagon, making fun of me. You, a jobless dropout, can't earn a dime. Heck, you're of no use to me now. And don't think for a second I'll let you cling to me, who's 5 years younger. Pack your bags and leave? Oh, and make sure you leave your retirement funds behind. I mean, I did marry someone like you. It's only fair, right? To consider it compensation for the trouble. You mean you want a divorce? That's what means the ears. David looked triumphant and replied, I thought I was clear, but I guess you need it spelled out. Uprightly figures. High school dropouts aren't the sharpest tools in the shed. What's the plan after the divorce? You're not seriously thinking of marrying my sister, are you? For a moment, the two exchanged surprised glances. Then they both broke into smug grins.
But well, looky gets numb.
That's right, we're in love. That's why we don't need a penniless woman like you around. But hey, if you really don't want a divorce, maybe if you get on your knees and beg, I might reconsider. I was utterly disgusted by his tasteless remarks. He probably feels this way because he believes he's superior. I can't believe I ever married such a despicable man. So, I had only one response.
Fine. Let's get divorced. I'll leave immediately just as you wished.
Oh, it seemed Dave and my sister weren't expecting such a bold statement from me, usually so compliant. They stood there, mouths agape, clearly taken aback. I quickly grabbed the essentials and left the house. Friends out, anticipating something like this. I already rented a place. I had packed necessary items long before. But the sheer relief and freedom I felt walking out of that house was beyond words. From there, things progressed swiftly. Having concrete evidence of Dave's affair with my sister, I was able to demand alimony and finalize the divorce smoothly. Now, I could finally focus on my studies, using the savings I had accumulated. I juggled between a part-time cleaning job. As a result, I got accepted into my desired law school. After 4 years, I completed law school. And against all odds, I passed the bar exam. I finally realized my dream of becoming an attorney. During that time, my ex-husband Dave somehow found out where I was staying and confronted me at my rental place. So, I remarried. But your sister doesn't work at all, and she doesn't lift a finger around the house. Can't you help us out a bit? We were a couple once, remember? Apparently, after I left, Dave and my sister struggled financially due to the alimony payments, and they ended up in debt. They even tried to ask our independent daughter and son for money, but were turned away. It's no surprise since I'd warned our children about this beforehand.
What kind of relationship are you talking about? We're divorced now.
We have no ties, and when I needed your help, you weren't there for me. I'm not listening to you anymore. Got a problem with that? When I said this, Dave, flustered as he was, began to lash out in anger.
Also, what the hell? Everyone's making a fool out of me. I'm a highly educated elite, you know.
Dave yelled out in frustration. Then, seemingly to vent his anger, he violently kicked the vacant lot next to the apartment. However, he must have slipped because he lost his balance and fell right into a puddle on the spot. Completely drenched in muddy water, and even angrier, Dave lay there cursing, "Damn it." Some neighborhood kids must have witnessed the scene as they distantly pointed and said things like, "That dude's so lame." Seemingly embarrassed, Dave, covered in mud, hid his face and hurriedly ran away. I don't know the specifics of their lives after that, but it seems my ex-husband and my sister have been causing trouble for many folks. No wonder no one wants to help them out. This is truly what they call karma. On the other hand, as for me, I managed to join a law firm as an attorney. Seems they appreciated my drive and determination. Even though I constantly learn new things as an attorney, the challenges are worth it if I can help those in need. When I first aimed to get into law school and later passed the bar exam, my main goal was just to have a stable job. But working as an attorney has given me so much more satisfaction than I ever anticipated. I often reflect on how blessed I am to have this rewarding second chapter in my life. Speaking of which, when I was in law school, a classmate 30 years my junior once asked me something. "Don't you think it's reckless to pursue becoming an attorney at 60? They asked. I can see how younger folks might think that. At that time, I could only give a vague answer, but if you have a strong conviction, it's never too late in life. Now, I can confidently say that